Python OOP approach, that is object oriented programming approach. Python is a multi-paradigm programming language as it supports different programming approach. And one of the popular approaches to solve a programming problem is by creating objects. And this is known as object oriented programming, that is OOP. So objects will be doing everything. So that's why we will be defining objects, and using objects we will be writing our code. And that's why this Python is known as object oriented programming language. An object has two characteristics. The first one is the attributes or messages. That means what are the different values these attributes can hold, and behaviors or methods which will define that what are the different permitted operations that we can carry out on these attributes and messages. So let's take one example. So dog is an object, and it has the name, age, height, weight, color are the attributes, and barking, wagging and this running are the respective behaviors. So the concept of object oriented programming in Python focuses on creating reusable codes. That means once the code will be defined, will be written, we can reuse that code as when required. So reusability will be enhanced if you go for the object oriented programming, because whatever the methods we are going to write, that can be used for any number of times. So this concept is also known as DRY, that is don't repeat yourself. In Python, the concept of object oriented programming follows some basic principles. So what are the principles? We basically have three principles. So that is the inheritance. Next one is the encapsulation. Next one is the polymorphism. So a process of using details from a new class without modifying the existing class. So a process of using details from a new class without modifying the existing class is known as the inheritance, where the reusability code is getting implemented. That means here we will be having one class. From the class we will be taking the respective methods and attributes, the respective messages and methods into another class, and we can go on adding some other methods and messages as applicable. Next one is the encapsulation, that is the hiding the private details of a class from other objects. So class is nothing but a common blueprint for all the alike objects. So that is known as a class. And in case of encapsulation, it will hide those private detailing of a class. And next one is the polymorphism, that is a concept of using common operation in different ways for different data input. So this is known as polymorphism. Whenever multiple things or the same thing will have the different name, rather I should say, when the same thing has got different name, then we can call it as a polymorphic. So that's why a concept of using the common operation in different ways, passing different data input, is known as a polymorphism. So these are the main three pillars of object oriented programming. So let us go for one demonstration where we will be showing you that how this Python has become object oriented. In object oriented programming in Python, we define class and objects. We know that instance of a class is known as an object. An object consists of multiple different messages which will be holding different values, and methods which will decide or which will determine the permitted operations that we can carry out on those messages. Here we are defining one class. The name of the class is MyBird, and this class is having three different methods. The first method is very special, is underscore underscore init underscore underscore. This method is known as a constructor. A constructor name will be always underscore underscore init underscore underscore irrespective of the class name, and it will have the prototype which will be having one self as input argument. So this self is actually denoting the object reference. That means the object which will be created under this class, and this is also known as this reference. So this particular init, this constructor is having only one statement to get printed. Also we are having other methods, that is the what type, and we are having the method that is scan swim. What type method is having this string to get printed, and this scan swim is also having this string to get printed here. So in this way we have declared the class body MyBird. So now we are going for this MyParrot, and here we are having one instance variable species which is having this string, that is a bird here, and this is our constructor
which will print this respective message. And here we are defining two instance variables separately extra. One is name and age, which will get initialized with these input parameters. We are having another method, that is a CanSing, and this from this method we are returning one string, and this is the string which will go on returning. And you see here we are passing this self.name as a first placeholder content and this song as a second placeholder content. So in this way we have defined this myParrot class here. So now we are having the next class, that is the myPenguin. This myPenguin is inheriting the class myBird. You can easily recall that this myBird was a class, and if you go on executing you can find that it is having no method has been called from this myBird class. So that's why it is producing no output, only the mere declaration we are having. And now we are having this myParrot, and this myParrot I have executed, so no error has been observed. Now this is myPenguin. This is one class which is inheriting properties from myBird. So myBird properties means these properties will get inherited. We should know that whenever we are having one method or one message preceded by the underscore means it is a private, under the private, and double underscore means it is strictly private. Private members cannot be accessed from outside of the class. So this is myPenguin, which is inheriting myBird class, and it is having the respective constructor here, and which is calling the base class constructor. The base class means the myBird. myBird constructor can only be called using super dot underscore underscore init underscore underscore method. That means we are calling the base class constructor. This super method is actually denoting the base class name, and what about the name of the base class? It can be referred using this super method, and it is calling the base class constructor. In the local function body we are writing this, the penguin is ready. Next one we are having this who is this. This is a respective string to get printed. Can run, this is another method, the respective string will get printed here. So in this way we have defined myPenguin. We have defined the myPenguin, which is inheriting myBird class here. Okay, so I'm writing this one as myPenguin, that will be better. So myPenguin class inheriting the attributes from the myBird class here. So now let us go for the instantiation. That means we shall declare some instance of the class. Instance of the class means we are defining the object of the class. Here the class name is myParrot, so we are calling the constructor. So mp1, that is the myParrot1 is equal to myParrot. myParrot1 will be the name, and 10 will be given as the value for this age here. So you can find that age is will be passed and the name will be passed here. So that's why we are having this myParrot1 is the name and age is 10. myParrot2 is the name, 15 is the age here. So in this way you have defined two objects, one is mp1 and the one is mp2. It is actually denoting myParrot1 and myParrot2. So now to access the class attributes we can write in this way, mp1 is a, so we can go for format, and now mp1.class.species. So you can have this one. So species is nothing but one message, I think, one member variable we defined, there is a species, and it is not under private because we haven't given any kind of underscore, single or double before this species. So it is under the public scope, can be accessed from the outside. So that's why we're having this mp1.class.species, and now here we are having this mp2 is also the placeholder is there, and format mp2.class.species. So now we are going for this, that is the instance attribute. So now we are going for this mp1.name and mp1.age are going to get printed using this particular placeholders and dot format method. So mp1.canString, that means here we are having one method, that is a canString. This canSing, you can find that this canSing we defined here. So this our method is canSing. This particular method requires one string as input argument, the respective the song name. So here we are passing this chirp. So that is the canSing is taking this particular string as input argument, and now we're having this. So now let me go for the execution for the better clarity. You can find that. So myParrot class constructor is executing. So whenever we're calling this particular constructor to instantiate instance variables of this myParrot, then myParrot class constructor is executing two times because we have defined two objects here. So just going to this myParrot, you can easily find that Here we have written this my parrot class constructor is executing, so this line is producing the required string as output, and here the name and age are getting initialized with this input parameters name and age here, so you can get it. Okay, next we're going for this, that is the mp1 is a, you see mp1 is a bird and mp2 is also a bird, because here this species, we initialize this species with the string bird here. Okay, now we are printing this mp1.name and mp1.age, and it is giving the value as, so my parrot 1 is 10 years of age, and my parrot 2 is 15 years of age. So here mp1.name is getting my parrot 1, we give that name, and age we have passed as 10, so they are getting printed, and in this case mp2.name is getting instantiated with this my parrot 2, and mp2.age is getting instantiated with this 15, so accordingly we are getting the required outcome. So now we are having this can sing, so this particular method is producing this output here. So here you can find that here we are going to have our output, that is my parrot 1 can sing chirp, and here you see we have passed this particular string chirp, that is a chirp here. So this particular string is getting printed here, because if you go to this can sing method, you can easily find that here we wrote this one, that is the respective name can sing this song. Here that this song has got initialized with the string chirp here. Okay, now we are going for the another one. So we are going to define one object under the class mypenguin. So now this is our class mypenguin. It has got the method, that is a who is this and can run. These are respective strings are going to get printed using the print function. So pg1 dot who is this, pg1 dot can swim, and pg1 dot can run here. So you can find that this particular class mypenguin is having the instance functions, that is our who is this and can run. This my bird were already defined here. It is having the method what type and can swim. So as a result of that, this my penguin is inheriting my part. So as a result of that, my birds defined the methods, the defined methods has got inherited into my penguin, so they can be accessed. So here we have used this pg1.can swim and pg1.can run here. You can easily find that in bird we are having this can swim, and in penguin we are having this can run, but from the my penguin object I can access both can run and can swim exactly. So now you can find this one. So if I execute, then penguin is ready. This particular message is getting printed from the constructor. So here we are having the constructor, here we have written this penguin is ready, and now we are having this I can swim, I can run faster. This I can swim, I can run faster, I can run faster has come from this can run, which is defined within this my penguin class, but as it is inheriting my bird class, so from the my bird I can swim, that is I can swim, this particular message is getting printed as we call this can swim method. So I think from this particular example you are getting this idea how to define one class, how to define one object, what is inheritance, and when the inheritance is taking place, then how to access the base class members from the derived class objects. So I think you are getting this idea. This is the required output we are going to get printed. So now let us go for another part. So here we are defining one class, that is a personal computer, to show you that what is data encapsulation. In case of data encapsulation, the member variables and the member functions will get encapsulated within the class. So init, as I discussed earlier, that init is nothing but one constructor. Here this max computer price is nothing but one instance variable which has got initialized with the value 20,000. We're having another method, that is the myCell. We're having the method set max computer price. So you can find that these are respective bodies are there, and set max computer price is taking this price as input parameter, and that price is instantiating or initializing max computer price, that is the instance variable. And against this personal computer class we have defined one object. The name of the object is pc.mycell. So this method is going to get executed. pc.maxComputerPrice, we have just updated that one using 30,000 here. So pc.mycell, you see the respective method will get printed, and set max computer price. Again, we're calling this set max computer price method, passing this price as input argument, input parameter, which will initialize this max computer price instance variable. So again, if you go on printing my cell, then obviously I shall be getting this updated price here. So now let me go for the execution. You can find that selling price is 20,000. Initially the selling price will be 20,000 because max price within the constructor got initialized with 20,000. So whenever we call this pc.myCell, so max price has got printed as 20,000. After that, we did some update directly using the instance variable. Then we did some update using this set max computer price method, and here the price has become 30,000. So my cell has printed the selling price as 30,000. After doing the update with the 40,000, pc.myCell, this method is printing the selling price as 40,000. So you are getting this idea how these classes are having the respective messages and the methods encapsulated within the class. So I think now you are getting the idea in case of Python how we can implement object oriented language features. Thanks for watching this video.